For another, the source of my strength, he thinks, lies in his office and the power of the institution to which I belong, and I carry myself conscious of that dignity. I excel other people, says a third, because of my willpower, my resolve to achieve all my goals. That's what makes me strong. Other people think my greatest quality is my good looks, my athletic prowess, some abilities that I have that other people don't. For other people, they may boast in their skill with a pen, or their ability with their hands, or their intellect, or the fact that they are quick-witted and sharper than other people. Where does my strength lie? And believing this, fallen man is intrinsically proud and a boaster. It is part of us in the flesh too, to vaunt ourselves in our achievements, in our ability, in what we wrongly perceive to be our strength. Verse 84 underscores as the first thing about the blessed pilgrim this: blessed is the man whose strength is in thee. He realizes, and this takes grace, my strength is not in myself or my abilities or my family connections or any of those things mentioned or any things that weren't mentioned. My strength is in the Lord. That's a very simple thing, but it's fundamental. This brings us to the paradox, and there are many paradoxes in the Christian faith, seeming contradictions, not real contradictions, seeming contradictions. That it is those who know themselves to be weak because of their sins and frailty who are truly strong. And it is those who think that they are strong who are actually weak. And how weak they are will be seen by all when they die, and when they rot in the grave, and when God punishes them everlastingly, no matter how mighty they appeared or thought themselves to be while they were on earth. So God says to the Apostle Paul and to all Christian pilgrims, my grace is sufficient for thee, because my strength is made perfect in weakness. The weaker you are in your own estimation, the stronger you are, and the more God perfects His grace in you. The problem with the church is, the problem with us is, that we're all too strong. Too strong in our own estimation. And when we are strong, then we are weak. And so Paul says positively, when I am weak in myself, then am I strong. And the greatest example of this was the cross of Jesus Christ, when He was crucified in weakness. But He is the power of God. Blessed and happy, says this text, is the man who knows himself to be weak, because he's been taught inwardly by the Holy Spirit about his sins and miseries. And then alone can God be your strength. Jesus Christ came into the world to save sinners, weak people who know themselves to be such. And blessed is the man whose strength is in thee. The blessed pilgrim who takes the Lord for his strength meditates upon God's power. That means something to him. He knows Jehovah as the strong, decreeing God, who eternally purposes everything in heaven and on earth, whether things visible or invisible. That person knows Jehovah as his strength. He knows Jehovah as the mighty God who created everything in 6 days by uttering a word. And then he realizes that his own strength is dust and ashes. He understands that the entire universe is in God's hands every moment of every day, so that it is entirely governed by him, even the devil. And especially does the blessed pilgrim understand God's power in this, the greatest work of them all, redemption. And God, in order to make things easy for us as his children, gave us a picture of that in destroying Egypt with 10 plagues, and drowning Pharaoh in the Red Sea, and bringing his people out of bondage. And that was enough for the children of Israel for 1400 years. And then he said, I'll show you the real thing. Now I'm really going to make bare my arm. Here it is, in the weakness of the cross. This is my power. When everyone, the offscouring of the earth, despised and rejected him, and he could just hang there and die. Blessed is the man whose strength is in thee. The Christian pilgrim, aware of this strength, divine strength, forsakes his own supposed strength, stops his boasting, and seeks all of his strength and salvation outside of himself in Jesus Christ, who is the revelation of the triune God. And this is why, precisely why, he is blessed and happy. Because he is trusting in the God who is blessed and happy. He fellowships with the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, who live in the rich covenant friendship of the Holy Trinity. That's why he's blessed. Blessed is the man whose God is the Lord. Blessed is the man who is united to God's only begotten and beloved Son. Blessed is the man whose sins are forgiven. Blessed is he who comes to the supper of the Lord. The blessed man whose strength is in Jehovah, knowing that, he prays. He seeks the Lord in his word, or to put it in Old Testament terms, the terms of Psalm 84, he goes up to Jerusalem to keep the feasts. How amiable are thy tabernacles, O Lord of hosts! My soul longeth, yea, even fainteth, for the courts of the Lord. My flesh and my heart, weak as they are, and myself, cry out for the living God. Blessed is the man whose strength is in thee, in whose heart are the ways of them. And you'll see the last two words of verse 5 are italicized. Of them, supplied by the translators. The blessed man is the one who has God's ways in his heart. Now, what are the ways of God here? In the context, the ways are the ways to Zion, the ways of the pilgrim. This is so because verse 7 goes on to talk about the blessed man and his ways as passing through the valley of Baca. Verse 7, going from strength to strength, and then appearing before God in Zion. The ways are the ways to the tabernacle on pilgrimage. This passage says that the blessed man has these ways up to the tabernacle. He has the ways in his heart. The idea runs along these lines. This is a man who loves God. The passage speaks of that in many ways. And he loves God's house. And therefore, he even loves the ways that lead to God's house, where he can worship the Lord. Verse 2 says, my heart and my flesh cry out for the living God. So his heart wants God in the tabernacle. And then his heart is mentioned in verse 5. In his heart are the ways that lead up to the tabernacle, where I worship God. The two go hand in hand.